There we go, everyone. So my first cast of the weekend produced my first bite. And yeah, a lump of cheese paste just lowered down next to a snag in the margins, and a little hungry chub has picked it up, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3 pound. But yeah, a lovely start. And I'm gonna keep persevering with the cheese paste, just roving as much as I can. Lovely active method. And yeah, I'm sure I'll catch a few more of these today. Lovely way to fish. Awesome. Right then, everyone, so in this bag is my cheese paste. As you can see, lovely big ball of it. It's got a bit of bread on it there because I'm keeping it in a bag with some bread as well. Yeah, so that'll probably be enough to last me for the day. It's worth going around and pre-baiting just a few swims with just a few dollops of this. Small pinches of it like this. Just like that, just a few dollops of it like that, and just drop it in. Basically that's made, I like to make mine on the bank simply because I don't like to stink the kitchen out. So all I do is get some grated cheddar, some parmesan, some pastry mix and some garlic puree, and I mix all that together, make it into a nice firm paste, and yeah, it's perfect. There are a few lumps in it because I'm using grated cheese and I'm not warming it up in the microwave or anything like that. So there are a few lumps in it, but it doesn't matter too much as long as it's fairly soft. And yeah, that's a lovely consistency, that. So yeah, that's all I use. I've actually put a bit of hemp oil with this as well, just to soften it that little bit more. The water temperature is a lot higher at the moment. If it was freezing cold, I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, the water temperature is not too bad at the moment. So yeah, that's all I'm using. And the rig, you really couldn't get any simpler with the rig. Oh. Running bomb, just big enough to hold bottom, and I've got a fairly long hook link down to a size 6 hook. Need a big old hook just to make sure it connects. And yeah, I've got a nice lightish quiver tip, and you get some lovely bites. The bite last time was literally just twitch and then a very steady pull round like that. So that the twitch is the chub picking up the bait, and the pull round is it just moving off back into the cover with it. So yeah, brilliant. Let's move along the river and see what else we can catch. Here we go, folks. So this is the first swim where I caught that chub, and I actually caught it just dropping right here. So it must have been sat in that snag. Probably a few of them sat in there. And even with the colour, they can smell that cheese paste and they're straight on it. I'm not a big fan of fishing for chub in coloured water, but if you're using a bait like cheese paste, you can usually get a few bites. So yeah, and that's the sort of swims to look from. This is very, very shallow normally, but with a bit of flood water, I'd probably say you've probably got about 4 or 5 foot down there. And yeah, they'll just be tucked in this cover here, just trying to get out the way of this flow. And they're still always looking for food because they're chub and they're greedy. So awesome. Let's see if we can find a few more. Right then, guys, so I'm in my second swim of the day, and this swim on this stretch I'm in here, the stretch is a lot slower and a lot deeper, and it's not really noted for lots of chub, but the ones that people catch are a bit bigger, sort of 3 to 5 pound sort of size. So I'm giving it a quick go on here, and then I'm going to move down to the fastest stretch below the bridge. It's controlled by 2 different angling clubs, but I've got both tickets. So we'll see, there could be a chance for a big one. The trouble is with this deeper and slower stretch, and you'll find this with deeper and slower stretches, a lot harder to locate the fish. I know I'm only fishing this one because I know from speaking to a bloke last time I fished this stretch that he lost a chub in here. So that's obviously a good place to start. But generally when I fished it, I haven't had many chub. And that's been the case with a lot of people that I know that have fished it. It's just sort of one-off fish that people catch all over the place. So we'll see. There's a nice snag tree down here, just downstream. I'm fishing quite a bit upstream from it at the moment, which gives me the option to cast further back downstream if the fish don't want to come up and hunt the smell of this paste. But yeah, we'll see. It's always worth trying these spots. The lovely thing about fishing with cheese paste is it's so you should have had the bite within 15 minutes if there's anything there. So you can explore and just search around, and that's why it's such an exciting method. So right. Fingers crossed it goes around in this swim. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? 2 and 2. Well, here we go, guys. What did I say? I literally just got off the phone to you guys. I said it would be nice if we could get 2 and 2, and the tip has just gone round, and I've got a hard fighting chub on here, which is lovely. So yeah, see if we can get this one in. There he is in the flow. Brilliant. Let's get this one in, and happy days. Ooh. Well, there we go, chaps. You'd certainly notice this one again, wouldn't you? He's got a funny sort of pug-shaped face, like someone's smacked him in the nose. Probably a bit bigger than the last one. 3.5, maybe 4 pound, that one. So yeah, lovely. And yeah, on this slower stretch as well. So it's promising signs for the day. They're on this pace within 5 minutes. So they really want those stinky baits in this coloured conditions. Lovely. Here we go then, guys. Fish number 2. Bit of a funny looking character, this one. He's got a strange pug-shaped face. Look at his head. That is just bizarre, isn't it? Look at that. So yeah, very sort of funny looking chub. Lovely bite again, just a couple of taps and round it goes on the cheese paste. It really is brilliant method. When the water's coloured, you cannot beat it. You cannot beat it, honestly. So yeah, two casts, 2 fish. We haven't put a foot wrong yet, so look at that, lovely chub. Brilliant. Slipping back. I'm going to move swim. I'm not bothering fishing for multiple bites in swims. I'm just catching a fish, moving on to the next one, see where we go. I'm sure this stretch there will be some duff ones, 100%. Below the bridge, I'm pretty confident, if they're feeding like this, I'm pretty confident I can get a bite in every single swim that I fish, which is why it's such a great method to do on winter days. So getting back and we'll move on. Happy days. Right then, chaps, so what a start to the session already. Now, this could be where we become unstuck and we fish a swim where we actually don't get a bite. This one, I've fished a few times in the past, trotted it with maggots and fished with hemp and stuff like that. Caught lots of roach, caught some perch, never had a chub in it. So, but it does look an absolute classic. We've got a lovely overhanging tree coming halfway out across the river, as far downstream as we can cast. So there's a lovely holding feature there, and that's one thing you'll notice when you do a lot of this. Sometimes you think, I can't believe there's not going to be a chub there, and you fish it and there actually isn't a chub there. And then there's other swims which look like straights is a perfect example. You've got a straight, little bit like a crease or something like that. No snags or anything, and a lot of people walk past that type of swim, and more often than not there's chubs out there. So we'll try this one. Hopefully I'm wrong and the tip goes around pretty quickly, but we'll see. Now, a lot of people would probably ask, well, should you feed anything? And the answer really is no. If you're going to cover a lot of swims, it might be worth just plopping a few bits of cheese paste in on your way down. More often than not, I find, especially on these small rivers, you just cast in a bit of cheese paste. They know it's there, and if they're hungry, they'll have it. So you don't really need to pre-bait. Get this out there, see if we can get it as close to that tree as possible, or at least a decent bit enough way in front of it, so if there are any holders in there, they'll come out and have a go. Now, I have to admit, I would have actually liked to have gone closer than that, but we'll see. We'll just give it a little bit. Good thing is, the paste is so powerful that the smell of that going down on the current will pull fish out the cover, and they'll come to investigate what's making that smell. So, not got quite enough weight in this swim because my tip is just bouncing around a little bit, which is the weight moving. So the hook bait is just pulled round slightly from where I cast. Hopefully not into a snag. That's the only trouble when it does that. Sometimes your lead will bounce, and when it comes stationary, it's not because it can just hold there, it's because it's snagged up on something. So if this is anything like the previous 2 swims, we'll have a bite within the first few minutes. If not, then I've either cast too far upstream of the snag, or there aren't any fish here, which, as I said before, this is a swim where I would say it looks good, but I don't necessarily fancy my chances. I wouldn't say it's nailed on for a chub in here. There's swims down on the other stretch where I just know I can cast in and catch one. It won't be big, but right then chaps, another new swim, and it's as I thought. It's getting progressively harder as I move upstream on this stretch, which I did think would be the way. A lot of these swims I've fished before, and with maggots and stuff like that, and I've never had a sniff of a chub, so I'm not too surprised. As you can see, this one's nice. It's got a nice snag in the water on the far side, a snaggy tree downside. It's very deep down here though. I remember when I float fished it, got about 10 or 12 foot of water there, and there's a bit of water on as well, so it's not really ideal sort of place where chub would sit, but it's worth it just in case there's one rogue big un knocking around. It's also a spot where I see a lot of otters, so I do think there is a group of otters that live along here. I always see them around here. I had one swim under my feet once down here, so whether that has an impact on the chub numbers, because this being an area where the otters frequent often, the chub may back off it, so we'll see. There's always stacks of roach here, but yeah, unsure about the chub. Got a couple more swims to try on this stretch, and then we'll go down below the bridge, and that is when I'm expecting to catch. Judging by what I've caught this side today, I'd expect to catch 4 or 5 down there at least. We've got plenty of time. It's about 2 o'clock now, so we can keep on roving. I've only been here an hour, so 2 fish in an hour isn't bad, is it, on a winter's day? So there we go. As you can see, the water is very up and still got a lot of colour in it, so otherwise I would have been trying to fish for roach, but chub seemed to be the best choice today, and it's paid off so far, even if I don't catch anything else, so happy days. Well, here we go then, guys. So we've moved back past the car, walked all the way back. I tried a couple more swims up there and it just wasn't happening, so I moved down to what I would consider to be the more prolific stretch. I'm in a swim here, as you can see. Lovely sort of snaggy tree on the far side, a lot of pace going through, and it's as I suspected. This stretch, there's a lot of chub, and there are some good ones down here, but there's a lot of small ones, and they generally beat those bigger ones to the bait. So it's already started happening. I put in this swim, first cast, probably 2 or 3 minutes before anything happened, and then bang, 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 but without that pull round, which is what was happening in the other swims. I was just getting a bang when they pick up the bait, and the tip was just pulling round, and you know when to strike these. And I would say that generally means these are smaller chub, probably pound and a half sort of size, and they're just nipping at it, pulling at the paste, and it's really hard to know when to strike because they're really fast sort of pulls. So I can persevere, and there may well be a bigger chub here, but I'm only going to give it, if it does it too much, I'm only going to give it a few casts. If I can't catch whatever it is, then I'll leave it and I'll come back later. But generally, those, like I said, those bigger ones, it's a lot more positive, the bite. But the little ones, they want it, they grab at it, but they can't quite get it in their mouth, and they're just pulling at it. So yeah, there we go. Just thought I'd share that with you, some observations of what's going on in this swim. Hopefully I'll show you a fish in a sec. Well guys, so much for my go-to stretch, eh? I probably fished about 4 swims along here now, and I was saying I was going to catch a fish in every swim, wasn't I? But it's a bit too fast for this stretch at the moment. And another tip I will give you is, when you're chub fishing, even if it's high and coloured like this, you have to make the most of that first cast. There's 2 swims where I've fished, and I said I was getting the tappy bites in one swim. It eventually went boom and pulled round and I missed it. Now, could have been a chub, but when I cast back in, nothing. Another swim, first cast, was out there for less than a minute. Bang, 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 like that. And struck and I missed it. Second cast, nothing. So they're very instinctively, they respond to that bait when it's there. That's why you hear people, oh yeah, I had one first cast. Like the 2 I caught earlier. You will get them first cast, but then second cast, they're a lot more wary then of what's happened. So yeah, you need to make the most of that first cast. In every single swim you try, be as quiet as you can coming up to the bank. Drop it exactly where you think a fish would be holding, and if there's one there, they'll have it. And just keep moving. I've still got plenty of time left, so I'm keeping moving. This stretch, you can tell it's been flooded, because this stretch is absolutely littered with branches and trees and stuff and snags all over the place. And yeah, it's going to move the fish about a bit. So I've just got to move until I drop on some and make the most of them when I do. So yeah, I'm going to keep persevering. Look at that, it's lovely. I've hardly seen a person. I've seen a couple of dog walkers and that's it. So that's what it's all about, isn't it? And we've had a couple of fish. So the next stretch, when I cross over the river, you can't actually fish on the other side. I've got to cross over and then cross back. I've had a lot of chub from there. I know I said that before, but we'll hopefully. Yeah, it's not going to happen in this swim. I've been in this one about 5 minutes now, 5-10 minutes. Like I said, I'm only giving it a very limited amount of time. The reaction I've had in all the swims I've had bites, it's been 2 or 3 minutes, you get a bite or you're an indication there's a fish there. So there really isn't much point in giving them any longer than 10 minutes or so. Keep on moving. Oh guys, in again. And yeah, what's fascinating with chub is how they know every single snag in the river. Again, in this spot, 5 minutes in the right place and it's ripped off. So we'll get him in the net and get him landed. Beautiful. Here we go guys, fish number 3. Completely different profile. This fish is a bit smaller, but he's very, very chunky in comparison to the others. So this one's been, he probably looks a lot bigger on the camera. He's been eaten up a bit, this one, because look, he's got a proper belly on him. So yeah, I'd probably say about £3 maybe at a push. Lovely fish again. Few minutes, tap, 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 pull round. There it was, beautiful. So you know when these better ones are feeding. I'm sure those bites that you miss are a smaller chub, about £1 or £2. Look how fat that is across the belly. Mental. So yeah, lovely fish. They're perfect on a winter's day, you know. Brilliant sport. So we'll keep going. We've probably got about an hour and a half left. Hopefully we can catch a couple more. Well guys, just had the first re-tackle up. Dropped in this swim and it was the old tap, 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 but never really that firm pull. And I struck it one of the taps that went bang and then just pulled a little bit. And I've pulled into a snag and I've snapped off and lost everything. So that's the first tackle up of the day. That's the trouble when you're fishing in these floodwater conditions. You don't really know what's around. I've got a fairly good idea of what it was in this swim because I've seen this swim in the summer and there's a big boulder down here. And the fish actually sit right behind it. It's perfect cover for them. I've seen barbel and chub there. And I've put near it and yeah, I've had a bite. So there's obviously a fish sat near it, sheltering from the flow. But I've missed the bite and I think I've hooked the boulder. So yeah, not great. Haven't got long left. I've gone as far up as I was going to go now, and now I'm working my way back. So what I'm going to do, this is how I suggest you work a stretcher. So I mean, it's obviously entirely up to you how you choose to do it. But I will sort of leapfrog some swims on the way up, and then I'll fish the ones that I haven't fished on the way back. But also any swims where I've had missed bites or something, but nothing's come afterwards, I'll drop in those again too, just to see. I may not get a chance to fish every swim today, unfortunately, because I'm losing the light very, very quickly. It'll be dark within 45 minutes, I would think. So yeah, otherwise it's been a brilliant sort of, well, I got here at 1, so it's been a brilliant sort of 3 or 4 hours fishing. Can't ask for much more, really. So yeah, sweet. Let's see if we can cap it off with like a big 5-pounder or something. Now that would be awesome. Sweet. Let's keep on the move. Well, here we go, guys. I said that you could catch small ones as well, didn't I? That was in one of the swims where I've been getting the funny taps. Like I predicted, it's smaller chub that are the culprit for that. So yeah, there we go. We hit one and we've managed to catch one. So just got a couple of swims left to try. Looks like there'll be a few more of these possibly if we can hit the bites. Right then, chaps, as you can see, the light level has now almost completely gone. I've actually just missed a really good bite in this swim, which I missed one earlier as well, which is a bit annoying. It was a bit tappy, but then I had a lovely slow pull round and I struck and there was nothing there, so it's a bit annoying. Hopefully we get another chance. Obviously you can keep fishing this cheese paste long into the dark. They aren't picking it up. It's not a visual attraction that they're picking up, they're homing in on the smell. So you can just keep fishing it all night long and you should get bites. Obviously the only obstacles to you are be careful on the bank at night in the dark, very slippery at the moment, and just knowing where to cast can be a little bit difficult because you don't want to be shining your light on the water, that'll cut through. But yeah, I've only got another swim to try by the bridge, and then I'll be off. But it's been a lovely session. If I catch anything, I'll show you a picture of it. But yeah, it's been a lovely little tap then, so you can't see that, can you? Just tap, 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 and then little shakes. It's very, I think it might be small chub, but yeah, who knows? Right, let's hope it goes round.